I don't know how much of this I'm going to end up cutting out, but I've literally just been sitting here and like staring at the floor for, it says 5 minutes. I've been doing that for 5 minutes now. That's what it says on my camera because I am having a terrible time trying to figure out how to start this video. Um, I'm not happy. If that's what you guys want to hear me say, I'm not happy with this fight. That's like the rawest emotion I can just share. I'm feeling a lot of things right now, actually. There's a bit of anger in there, definitely, but it's mostly just disappointment and frustration. There was a time where I really thought we were past these pointless Marvel versus DC fights. Of course, after Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen was announced, I was thinking like, okay, maybe not. Maybe we still get these kind of filler fights every now and again. And that's what got me really nervous when I saw that Doctor Doom was going to be, in Season 8 of Death Battle, when he was revealed alongside everybody else at the end of Hulk versus Broly. There were a number of opponents people were thinking that he could fight. A good number, actually, after a while. There was Doom versus Gilgamesh from Fate floating around, which might have been my preferred option. It probably was my preferred option, in all honesty, based on all the other opponents. I wouldn't have minded Black Adam, but it wouldn't have been my first choice. There was also Frieza being thrown around, which, I don't think I would have cared for too much, but, if you like that fight, good for you, you do you. But above all else, I was just hoping that it was not Lex Luthor. I was just like, please, out of all the opponents that make sense in one way or another, just please do not be Lex Luthor. Anyone but Lex Luthor. And I didn't really get what I wanted, because it's Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom, which you all already knew. And I did think we were going to be getting a Marvel versus DC or a Marvel themed or DC themed fight at some point soon, because we hadn't had one yet in Season 8. But I was kind of thinking we were going to get something like Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna or Vision versus Red Tornado or something like that, because WandaVision had just come out. So I thought that could have been the fight, because I like to commemorate things. But, for Doom versus Lex, first of all, I'm kind of surprised that we have 3 of the teased combatants in a row, but I guess they want to save more surprises for the end of the season, which is fine. But yeah, ultimately, like, I guess they could commemorate like the Snyder cut of Justice League, but even that seems like a bit of a stretch. I don't know how well they could coordinate that even. But yeah, either way, this is what we're getting. It's the Doom fight, which again, I wasn't expecting. I was definitely not hoping for this. And it really frustrates me because we already got, a kick-ass Lex Luthor fight. Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, at least for the time, was amazingly done. Like, the fight animation and the analyses, again, at least for the time, was really, really good in my opinion. It's still one of my favorite fights, definitely one of my favorite animations that they've done, because it was just so cool, so well done. And, there was also Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom, which happened like 3 episodes after that, which, I thought that was a standard issue Death Battle episode, nothing too special, but, it was there. But there are so many reasons why this fight just kind of, annoys me. I really don't love the idea of combatants coming back unless there's like a really good reason for it. Like if there's like a fight that so many people have been talking about, or like a fight that's really cool, like in terms of the dynamic or something like that, then I can understand bringing back characters. I can understand that. But in general, it's mostly because I like seeing new characters come to Death Battle. I like seeing new characters being analyzed. And now half of the combatants in Season 8 are now returning combatants. So, oh, sorry. There's that. But yeah, no, in general, I just don't think these characters needed to come back for any particular reason, especially Lex, because again, he already had a really good fight. With Doom, other Doom fights, again, had potential, but this one, I just don't see this one having too much potential in terms of, like, banter or, like the dynamic of the fight or anything like that. Even if these characters were not returning combatants, I probably wouldn't like this fight too much because it's just unnecessary. It's just a bad fight, in my opinion, for a lot of different reasons. And, I actually did this fight on my own Versus series. I did this fight on my own channel. It's up on my channel right now. So, what gives there, Well, that was back during a time where I really just tried to find as many Marvel or DC themed fights as I could, because I thought those were really the 2 series that I could analyze the best. It was a different time for my Versus series, so I was just trying to get the best fights that were suggested to me, because that's what I like to do. I like to do suggested fights. And Doctor Doom versus Lex Luthor was one of them. Since then I've changed a lot. It's also just the fact that I hold Death Battle to a much higher standard than I hold myself. Like, if I end up doing a fight, like Lex versus Doom, who cares, right? It's just my own silly versus series. But with Death Battle, when they're like the head honcho of this kind of thing, I do expect a higher level of quality in terms of, the fight ideas and everything like that. So just to see that they went for something like Lex versus Doom. Obviously I'm never gonna do Lex versus Gilgamesh on my own series because I don't know that much about Fate, but that's something I would have loved to see Death Battle do. Like, that's something I would have loved to see them attempt. So I don't know. I've really grown a distaste for this fight, as many other people have, over the past year, I guess. And yeah, I really wanted something else. And again, I'm not necessarily like furious. I'm not going to be like yelling through this video, but my God, this is just a major disappointment. And, Doom wins. Like, that's how I feel. I do not see Lex Luthor winning this fight. If Lex Luthor does win this fight, then it's got to be because of something that I'm not aware of, like this one-off comic where he got something ridiculous that I just don't know about. But even then, I find it hard to believe he would get something that would be able to counter everything that Doctor Doom has, because it's kind of overwhelming. And even then, if you're trying to look at these characters like standardly, like the standard essences of these characters, then I don't think Lex can win. I really, really don't. If you really want me to go, like, I haven't done that much research on this fight because I don't need to. This isn't something where I need to look at all their feats and all of their accomplishments and everything like that, because it's really not necessary. And I know, when I go over the characters, people are going to be like, oh, you didn't bring this up, or you didn't go over this. Well, guys, I don't want to go over this. I really don't want to analyze this fight because it's not worth my time. I don't want to give this episode idea more attention than it deserves. You know what I mean? So I will go over why I think Doom wins, but do not expect me to bring up everything these characters have done, because that's just, again, not worth my time. So if you really want me to go over this, I don't think it's fair to scale Lex all the way up to Superman level in terms of strength, speed, and durability, because most of the time he's fighting a weakened version of Superman using kryptonite to weaken him over the course of the fight. Everybody already knows this isn't something I need to talk about too much. So when it comes to things like scaling these characters to higher end feats or higher end stats, when it comes to who they fought before, the scaling for Doom is a lot more reliable. It's something that you can take a lot more reliably because, again, like, obviously Lex has fought more than just Kryptonians. Like, he's fought characters from the Justice League before, but most of the time, again, when he's fighting Superman level characters, he's weakening them. He's kind of like bringing them down to his level rather than he's working his way up to their level, which doesn't translate very well when you're trying to fight other characters, in versus debating, who aren't Kryptonians. Whereas with Doom, he's been able to fight Superman tier characters, and arguably even beyond, almost definitely even beyond, without having to exploit a weakness like that. Like, if you just want to go like power, like if you want to talk about power, then, it takes a while for Lex to be able to, incapacitate Superman when he's using a weakness, when he's using kryptonite. Whereas with Doom, he's been able to one-shot the Incredible Hulk without having to exploit any kind of weakness. So, even with that, with kryptonite, it still takes Lex Luthor longer to incapacitate a Superman-level being than it does for Doctor Doom. So the power difference is very abundant. When it comes to stuff like strength and speed, again, both of these characters have fought characters that are, like, again, Superman level, like that kind of power range. You guys know what I'm talking about. Massively faster than light characters, going blow for blow, just even like fist to fist. Like, again, Doom has been able to go fist to fist with the Hulk before, if you want an example. But again, Superman is doing this, or not Superman, Lex Luthor is doing this with weakened, characters most of the time. Whereas when Doctor Doom is fighting these characters, again, like he's fought basically everybody in Marvel before, then, it's just more reliable scaling when it comes to stuff like strength and speed. Again, if you really want to make a case for Lex Luthor, I can't see, Lex Luthor being faster than Doom, because, again, there's just no reason, there's just no string you can pull on there. Both of them have fought characters that are around the same tier, but Doctor Doom has been able to do so on his own without having to exploit some kind of weakness. And I know this is something kind of weird to just keep bringing up because, the kryptonite argument against Lex is so easy to use, but it honestly really applies here because both of these characters have fought a lot of different strong characters, but only Doctor Doom has done so reliably when you're trying to compare him to other characters, like again in versus debating. That's just kind of the way it works. And when it comes to durability, again, Doom has that weird suit that, kind of like severs his connection to the physical world. It's kind of awkward when trying to compare it to, just standard issue durability. But at very least, if Doom isn't already more durable than Lex, Doom has ways to get past Lex's durability way easier than the other way around, than Lex getting past Doom's durability. Like, all of Lex's abilities are physical. All of them, I do not see getting past Doom's durability at all. I see Doom's armor just tanking all of it. He's just going to be able to keep on fighting no matter what Lex does to him. Again, especially since most of his weapons are based on kryptonite, which is not going to be nearly as effective against someone like Doom. But when it comes to Doom's abilities, again, assuming that Doom's physical power is not enough to just break through Lex's armor, because Lex's armor has been broken, of course, granted it's by like Superman level beings, but still, assuming Doom doesn't have the power to just be able to do that, he's got all of his magic spells, his non-physical abilities, he's got stuff like the mental manipulation, he's got technology manipulation for Pete's sake, and also like weirder things like time travel and telepathy. He's got, again, like, I don't want to go into too much trouble listing all of the things that Doom can do because it's not necessary, but the point is, just for that point alone, Doom has better defense because he has better ways to defend against Lex's arsenal than the other way around, because Doom just has way more versatility, way more abilities, again, with his science and his magic, whereas Lex Luthor is like mostly science, and in that mostly science, he is mostly kryptonite. Again, I can't see anyone making a great case for Lex Luthor winning this fight. Versatility, again, Doom just has the advantage. He's got so much more up his sleeve and so many more effective abilities up his sleeve. He's got way more combat experience. Again, not even just taking into account Lex usually working behind the scenes, but it's also that, again, Doom has just fought so many more characters. He's fought like the widest range of characters that you could even like expect from a Marvel villain. And again, this is talking about Superman tier characters and beyond. Like, he's fought Galactus before, The conditions, you can take that as you will, but the point is still, Doom has fought a lot more characters, and he's on the battlefield more often. And if you really want me to go into more things, then when it comes to intelligence, it's a little weird, because Lex's intelligence has been estimated to be immeasurable before. It's been estimated to be, like, around the 225 mark before in terms of IQ, whereas, Dr. Doom, is comparable to Mr. Fantastic, who has an IQ of 267. If you're really into stuff like that, then there's some information for you. But, either way, even if you want to say, Lex is a better planner or Lex is a better strategist, when it comes to combat tactics just like on the fly, then again, Doom just has more experience. I see Doom coming up with better strategies on the fly without prep time than Lex Luthor, especially considering the characters that they fought before. I feel like for Doom, this is just another day. Like, this isn't something that he really needs to strategize for. He's going to be able to read Lex no problem and know how to beat him. And if I recall correctly, Doom should also be a better hand-to-hand combatant because of his experience. Like, if you really want to go through this as a checklist, then I do not see Lex holding the significant advantage in really anything, or I don't see him holding an advantage in any significant area. Like, if you don't know these characters that well, then you might not be able to just see this fight and think, oh, it's a stomp for Doom or whatever. If you just know these characters by name and know who they fought, you don't really know like what they're really capable of. And I can totally understand that. But I know that for a lot of people that just know both Lex Luthor and Doctor Doom, this fight is just stupid obvious. And I've been rambling for a very long time. This is actually becoming one of my longer predictions this season, longest prediction for this season, because I just can't keep my mouth shut about this. I spent way too much time on this fight than I needed to, and even then I didn't spend that much time on the actual fight. Doom's gonna win. If Lex wins, then, normally I'm one to give Death Battle the benefit of the doubt, to say like, then probably I missed something, or I can kind of understand their reasoning, but they're gonna need some damn good reasoning if Lex Luthor wins this one. Doom wins. Yeah. Thanks for watching.